strike?
So it is because for better benefits of salary, for increase in salary and retirement benefits, sir.
Mhm. But are they considered to be permanent employees of the government or only honorary workers who are part of the community in the village just to take care of the children and mothers on a part-time basis?
So they are honorarium employees,
Hmm.
basically, but over time they get promoted as the grade 2 supervisors, supervisors, and few of them also become CDPOs.
Mhm. But are they not told at the time of taking their services that it's only an honorary appointment and it's not a permanent appointment?
They are told, sir, but
Hmm.
however, due to rising costs, especially inflation and the food prices, they're
Hmm.
facing difficulties in meeting their daily needs. And also, there's the added burden because of the use of data in their programs. So they are being made to work longer hours, which they feel is a burden.
Okay. Now, what is the difference between an Anganwadi worker and Asha worker?
So, an Anganwadi worker comes under the Ministry of Women Development and Child Welfare, and she's responsible for the nutritional needs of the child and the mother. And they provide basic services like supplementary nutrition, and they also take care of the early childhood care activities in the preschool. Whereas the ASHA worker is concerned with the overall health of the woman and child, sir. She's connected to the health departments. So they both report differently to two different departments, and even their nature of work differs, sir. ASHA is also concerned with taking care of other health parameters like BP, mental health awareness, etc.
Now, tell me when the government officials, particularly even the district collectors, are getting suspended, revenue officials are getting suspended. Why do you want to get into this kind of a service instead of being very happy as a lay secretary and up the line?
So, IAS has been my goal when I started my preparation for civil services, sir.
Hmm.
And even though there may be chances of suspension or uh, difficulties during service, I'd like to take it as a challenge and do better.
But why do you think Annamaya collector has been suspended?
So, as far as I have read from the newspapers, it is based on allegation of download of EPIC cards from the portal, sir.
Mhm. But
And
What's wrong in it?
so they say, according to the allegations by the political parties, it was raised that these cards were used to uh, uh, for fake votes in the Tirupati Assembly by-elections.
Mhm. But in the context of fake videos being in circulation, why do you think only this officer is responsible for creating fakes?
Um, so I don't know, sir. I have to read into it more.
Okay, okay. All right. Can you tell me why certain sections in Andhra Pradesh have been agitating about the AP Land Title Act, which has been just brought into force last year?
So I do not know about this.
You do not know. Okay. Now, can you explain what is a PPP project?
The PPP is the public-private partnership project, sir. It is
Mhm.
an agreement between the government and a public entity to render services uh, to complete public projects. So, for example, infrastructure projects, etc.
Mm. So how do the private sector operators get rewarded in a PPP project?
So there are a number of ways they can be a PPP project is administered, and they are like the BOT model, the DBFOT model, the HM model, where they are given rights to, for example, say a toll gate exit or for a road like a toll gate, and they get a share of revenues as their a part of the revenues is shared with the private players.
So you said there's something called DBFOT. What is the full form
Yes,
of this acronym?
it is design, build, finance, operate, and transfer, sir.
How is it different from BOOT project?
So can you please repeat it, sir?
How is it different from BOOT projects?
So, the BOOT means build, operate, own, and transfer. And the difference is in the as the name suggests, in the DBFOT, the private players are responsible for designing, building, and they operate the project for a period where they might share their revenues with the government and then transfer it to the government after a set period, sir. In the build, operate, own, transfer model, the private players build the project, they operate it for a set period, and during the set period, they can own it. So that implies they have access to credit during that period, sir. And after that, they can transfer it.
Now, since you claim that Tirupati in the Chittoor district is your home place, can you tell me that whether the criticism that TTD's funds should not be utilized as a source of revenue for Tirupati Municipal Corporation, is the criticism well founded?
Sir, I do not know about this issue, sir.
Okay, you do not know whether TTD's funds are being spent in Tirupati Municipal Corporation.
Yes, sir. Sir, also my hometown is Visakhapatnam, so I was just born in Tirupati.
Oh, you are just born. All right. So finally, since you claim that you are from Visakhapatnam, can you tell me what is wrong with Visakhapatnam steel plant management before I pass on to my co-panelist?
Sir, the basic issue of the steel plant is the workers are striking against privatization, and the government's viewpoint is that it is a loss-making unit and hence has to be privatized in the recent disinvestment, the strategic disinvestment policy. But however, here the workers' demands should also be taken into account as to the reason why the steel plant is a loss-making unit, sir. It doesn't have its own captive mines, which increases its cost of production, and it has a high debt servicing burden, sir. If these both problems can be taken care of, the workers raise the point that it can be made into a profitable entity. So while this investment policy is a noble initiative by the government to reduce its public exchequer burden, but to also to listen to the workers' demands is also the need of the hours.
So by not owning any captive mines,
Sir,
when there is a structural deficiency or inefficiency, how do you think by disinvesting, some other management is going to turn it around?
so the other management, for example, a private entity like Tata, if it takes over, it has its own captive mine which can transfer its assets over here, so which would increase its economies of scale across the production side.
Okay. Thank you. So,
Thank you, sir.
you have to mute it, I think. Yeah.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, HANITHA. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Yeah. How is your preparation going on?
I'm doing well, sir.
Going well.
Yes.
Any date is given for your interview?
29 January, sir. Next Monday.
Oh. Okay. I saw in your DAF you have given extracurricular activities.
Sir.
You read books on Indian mythology.
Yes, sir.
What books are from Indian mythology you read or interested?
So I've read both the epics Ramayana and Mahabharata, and a few of Puranas like Bhagavata Purana, and also the Bhagavad Gita, sir. And apart from this, I read commentaries on these books. Sir.
What is the difference between mythology and Puranas?
So basically, Puranas are a part of mythology, where Ramayana and Mahabharata, they are called Itihasa. That is, they are events which actually happened. Puranas are stories which are written by the ancient peoples.
They are not actually happened.
No,
You
sir.
mean? Okay.
No, sir.
Now, Bhagavad Gita, there is a lot of interest now, not only in India, but abroad, on the management principles, how a leader should work, Can you elaborate how it will help the modern managers? Lessons from Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, sir. In Bhagavad Gita, the major lesson which I take away from it is action in face of adversity and sthita pragnata. That is to have a balanced mind, and that is a very important quality for a leader, especially in the growing chaos of rising technology, probable loss of jobs, market shocks, the global supply chain crisis, etc.
Okay, good. Another factor I could see, you also mentioned about Carnatic music, learning
Yes,
Carnatic music.
yes.
Can you tell me who is the father of Carnatic music?
The Purandar Dasa, sir.
Yeah, good. Is Carnatic music only confined to Telugu or any other languages?
It also covers the South Indian languages, Kannada, Tamil, sir.
Can you tell me what is the raga used by this Purandara Das, which is advocated by him or propagated by him?
I don't know, sir.
Mala, Maya
Mala
Malavi.
Malya Gavam, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Maya Mala Gavam.
Yes.
I do not know
Yeah,
the
because
name.
you said you are interested. I thought you should be knowing details about Karnataka music and their details.
Sir, I
Okay, good.
learned in my
Ah.
childhood, sir, but I discontinued and I learned it again.
Do you
recently.
practice any Karnataka music now? Or
Yes, sir.
Acha, do you give concerts also?
No, sir. I'm
No.
still in the learning phase, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Anita.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Anita,
Good morning, sir.
now can you hear me?
Yes.
I was on mute actually. Now you in the DAF you said you read books on mythology, and as part of your response to the earlier member, you
Sir.
said you read the Ramayana and Mahabharata,
Yes.
which means Ramayana and Mahabharata are mythologies according to you. Are they?
Sir, until proven, yes, sir.
Which means what? But you also said itihasa, which means
Yes.
it happened.
Yes.
When something has happened, how does it still remain mythology?
Sir, it is believed to have happened, and there are also archaeological evidence, for example, near Delhi and Gujarat, supporting their existence. However, it is not concretely established that the civilization has happened. But however, the books claim that they are a record of the events as they happen. Both Valmiki and Vyasa have recorded them, like Valmiki recorded them post happening, and Sage Vyasa recorded them before happening.
No, see, there is also, in one breath you say there is a lot of archaeological evidence. In another breath you say it is still, yet to be established.
It's not conclusive yet, sir.
No, but, in fact, the bridge between, India and Sri Lanka under the sea, the NASA pictures, and various other, archaeological evidences are coming out day in and day out. Even, in fact, people also say that, the Kurukshetra battle was actually fought. So how does it still remain in the realm of mythology?
It is a contested issue, sir.
But then we shouldn't be really building a Ram Mandir now, if it is contested.
So I didn't understand your question.
We shouldn't be building a Ram Mandir. Tomorrow, the inauguration is scheduled. And there is, the whole nation is, waiting with bated breath. So if it is still contested, how can we go ahead and still build the temple?
So it is based on people's beliefs, the current construction of Ram Mandir. So, however, a large part of the society and the academia still considers the stories to be a part of mythologies.
I see. But we are made to understand and also believe that there is a judicial benediction to the entire project. The Supreme Court, the highest court of the country, has cleared the entire issue beyond any doubt.
Yes, sir.
So how can the entire matter be still in the realm of mythology? They wouldn't have done it based on belief, isn't it? The court would have taken into account a lot of evidence. After all, a judicial process, I'm sure relies mostly on evidences. There is Indian Evidence Act.
Yes. So the judicial judgment is based on archaeological evidence on the placing of the existence of the idols before the construction of the masjid, sir. It is not based on whether the events have actually taken place in the course of history or not, and also it is based whether the worship was being undertaken by the locals before the construction of the masjid, sir. So I believe that these two are, even though the Supreme Court has given its judgment, it is on the basis of archaeological evidence of existence of worship, sir. It is not on the happening of the true events.
Oh, I see. Okay. Now, which also brings us to next question as to what is the difference between mythology and epic.
I do not know, sir. I'll read on it, sir.
Okay, right. Now there is also a demand that temples should be decontrolled from the state administration.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any thoughts on that issue?
No, sir. I'll read into it, sir.
But at least have you heard that there is a demand that temples should be decontrolled?
Yes, yes.
Do you find any merit in this argument?
I did not read enough to have an opinion, actually.
Okay. Now you are also working as lay secretary, and then I know we keep hearing about the Prime Minister's Ayushman Bharat and all that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, is it adequate, or is the issue of the health of the masses being addressed adequately through this scheme?
Sir, the Ayushman Bharat aims to provide financial insurance cover to up to 5 lakhs to families, poor families, sir. It benefits around 12 crore families. As an initiative, the major rationale of it is to prevent catastrophic spending on health, where India is basically an out-of-pocket expenditure model. However, there are few shortcomings in this initiative as to it leaves out the middle class, because they do not get a chance to access these benefits of the scheme. And moreover, there are issues in its implementation also, sir.
So how can it be further strengthened?
So it can be further strengthened by strengthening the financing demand, the demand finance for the public hospitals, sir, where public hospitals and private hospitals together cater to the health needs of the population, sir, because of lack of resources, especially from the Indian context.
Suppose if you have an opportunity to restructure the entire health administration in our country, what would be your model? Okay, let us go ahead. Now, given a choice, a person would like to go to a corporate hospital, notwithstanding the fact that there is so much talk about, strengthening public hospitals and so on.
Sir.
Now, what is the antidote for this actually? How can we make, people repose confidence in public health system?
So The government can adopt a two-pronged strategy. First, at the supply side, it has to improve the quality of service delivery, and the private public hospitals are far better equipped than most private hospitals, based on infrastructure and human resources, and like they get to be the patients can consult a number of specialists at one roof, and they also get to get the benefit of a number of world-class diagnostic services also. And this awareness needs to be spread among the public also, sir, by accrediting the hospitals, for example, the NABH accreditation, which can instill confidence in the people, and by also spreading about the service of the hospitals via word of mouth publicity.
No, but the irony is, on one hand, you say a public hospital is better equipped than a private hospital.
Yes, sir.
Then, given a choice, as I said, someone would prefer to go to a corporate hospital like, say, Apollo or something.
Yes, sir.
Why is that happening? That is
The-
precisely my point.
Yes, sir. That is basically because of the history of poor quality service delivery, sir, and also the media too highlights the cases of
No,
medical.
I'm sorry, how can we blame media for that? It is a
No,
personal experience. You
yes,
go to a public hospital, I mean, the kind of treatment or, response that you get in itself is, a validation of the kind of confidence that people have.
yes, sir. That's why I'm telling, sir, the government has to improve the quality of service delivery by involving all the hospital staff, sir. Not just the doctors, but also the FNOs and these nurses, sir.
Okay. Finally, you have gone to, or you have taken your degree from IGNOU.
Yes, sir.
You could not have formal education, it seems, looks like, you have not gone to a
Yes,
regular college. What was
yes.
that due to? Is it any financial constraints or any part? Is it by choice that you had opted for an open university degree?
No, sir. In my first year of BTech, I was paralyzed and had to drop out of college. And then, because of infrastructural issues and also financial issues, I had to take up open education.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very good morning, Hanitha.
Good morning, sir.
Where are you now, Vizag or in Hyderabad?
Vishakhapatnam, sir.
Okay. How is the weather there?
It's cool, sir.
Is it normal winter, or do you think is there any impact of climate change in Vizag? Is the climate changing?
It is a rather a warmer winter, sir.
Warmer winter.
Yes, sir.
Now, Vizag is also one of the polluted cities in this country. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you have an opportunity or given responsibility, how do you think you would tackle this pollution problem and make it a better place?
Yes, sir.
Some steps you can underline.
Yes, sir. The pollution in Vizag is basically because of two reasons. One, because of a number of industries, especially the port industry, where which deals with the shipment of coal, sir. And a
Okay.
lot of particulate dust is from the port area, sir, that spreads throughout the city. So measures like high coat walls and using of water jet sprays for let the dust settle, and covering the coal with plastic sheets, etc., can reduce the pollution of the particulate matter, sir. And the second cause is because of the increasing vehicular density, sir. And for that, focus on public transport systems and to shift to better fuel standards and adopting greener fuels would be the solutions.
Okay, Anita, now the present government has proposed Visakhapatnam as a capital. Okay,
Yeah.
executive capital. Now that will further add to all the problems that you have cited. So it will
Yes.
become a bigger challenge. Is Vizag suitable to be the capital of Andhra Pradesh? Was Amaravati not a good choice?
Um, So, there are two reasons. There are 2 points of view, sir. First is the distance factor.
Mhm.
Vizag comes to a corner of the state, and hence the time of travel from the other parts of the state to the capital would get prolonged, would increase, which would reduce the accessibility to the capital by a greater extent. In contrast to Amravati, which is rather located at the center part of the state, sir.
So you
And
want a capital in the center?
for more accessibility, sir.
Okay.
But apart from that, the other reason is Vizag already has infrastructure available. It is the largest city in the new state of Andhra Pradesh, sir. So, building a capital city here on a brownfield project would cost much less as what is costing in Amravati, sir. So, balancing these 2 points of views, uh, committees have recommended it is better to shift to the capital to Vizag as it would reduce the public exchequer burdens.
But given your, thinking that it should be more central, not to the corner, it has transportation issues and all
Yes,
that. What is your feeling? What would you think would be a better capital?
so first, if we can develop better modes of transportation, that would benefit the state in the longer run, sir, as it would improve the economic productivity too. And also, we are shifting to a digital world, sir. So, a virtual governance model can help shift the capital to Vizag, sir. So, these problems are manageable in the future, sir.
Okay. Now, coming to the governance in Andhra Pradesh, there is a lot of criticism that the government is, into welfareism, a lot of welfare schemes, and there's a lot of drain on the exchequer. Is it a good model of governance? And the state is not taking adequate interest in industrial development and employment generation.
Uh, First of all, the government of Andhra Pradesh is investing more in the social infrastructure than the physical infrastructure, sir. So, what it aims to develop is the human capital so that it can reap the benefits of industry, sir. However, the public opinion is that there is not much investment in the industry sector, but the government is investing primarily in its agriculture and the allied activities, sir, to help the marginal farmers, sir. So,
No, but a lot of these schemes that the government has announced are more in terms of subsidy, helping, people in, healthcare to education and all that, which will have a very long-term gestation to show results. But in the short
yes,
term, the state is getting impacted, and it also started with a huge debt, isn't it?
yes, sir. For that reason, the government should be investing in private infrastructure, in physical infrastructure also, sir. That would help balance both the growth and development objectives.
Why isn't the state, attracting foreign investment? Why is it not aggressive like the earlier regime of Chandrababu Naidu?
So the primary reason is because of the loss of capital of Hyderabad, sir. Because Hyderabad is where most of the foreign capital and investments were attracted to, and the loss of the city, a well infrastructured place, is a primary reason, sir.
No, but if you look at Andhra Pradesh infrastructure-wise, you have 5 airports, half a dozen seaports, and many cities which are quite developed, isn't it?
Sir.
So you could look at the strengths to attract foreign investment. What, according to you, are the strengths which the state government can showcase to get more investments?
So the state government can showcase its long coastline, sir, which is a big asset. It already has a major port, and it's also developing a number of minor ports, sir, that can help both in developing the fishery sector and also the logistics sector, sir, and developing the state as a logistics hub, sir. And in this context, there also the VCIC and the CBIC projects are also being developed, sir.
So do you think the state is investing enough in this port infrastructure? You have any idea what kind of investment is going on?
No, sir. I'll read it.
Okay. Now, you have taken mathematics as your subject.
Yes, sir.
And in recent years, according to studies, there is a huge shortage of teachers in mathematics, and also a feeling that India is losing its edge in mathematics globally also. What do you think should be done to improve this situation?
So, first of all, mathematics in India is basically pursued as a tool for engineering, sir. The mindset of that needs to be changed, and we need to focus more on pure and applied maths, sir. And with respect to this, there has to be increased investment in R&D, and more pure science institutes have to be set up, like ISER, etc. Sir. That would encourage the supply side factor, and also the teacher should encourage students to take up maths courses in addition, other than just engineering courses. Sir.
No, there are already 7 or 8 ICERs in the country now.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes.
But mathematics itself is not drawing a lot of to students, and teachers are also not taking it up. Is there no incentive for mathematics?
So it's basically it faces a stiff competition from engineering, so being a very lucrative career
Okay.
path. That's the reason.
Finally, something on politics. The parliament passed the 30% reservation for women in
Yes, sir.
parliament. What do you think? Is it a serious move that will change politics in the near future or long term, or is it just tokenism?
No, sir. It is a long-term move, sir, that will result in political empowerment of the women. Majorly being the woman's voice is heard at the highest lawmaking body, and that would reflect in the policies also, sir.
But if you look at both our Telugu states, women representation is very, very low, isn't it?
Yes,
Both
sir.
in terms of ministry or in MLA.
Yes, sir. And the bill is the act is supposed to change the scenario, so to bring to mainstream women's concerns at the highest level.
Okay, thank you. It was nice talking to you. Yeah.
Hanitha, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. You must be reading a lot about different parts of the country. Now, can you tell me a bit of the northeast of India and the problems that are being faced there?
Sir.
Yeah.
So Northeast, primarily there are two important problems, sir. One is lack of connectivity in the region, and they feel like they are isolated from the mainland. And the other major problem is a lot of secession movements because of lack of development in the regions and strong cultural assertion.
Is there a feeling among people of the Northeast that they're not fully assimilated into India, or they're not accepted in the rest of India?
So, because of geographical isolation, this thinking could have been developed, sir. But however, the recent initiatives by the government, both from the countryside and also through bilateral side, like the Kaladan multimodal project and India-Myanmar Thailand trilateral highway. The government is taking up and the setting up of the Department of Northeastern Region. The government is taking multiple steps to develop the Northeast, to integrate the economy into the mainland, and also for pushing forward.
Okay, now tell me something about the problem in Manipur. It's been catching eyeballs for some time
Yes.
now.
So it's basically an ethnic conflict between the Kukis and the Meitei communities, sir. And that has originated in the district of Churchandrapur over the issue of recognition of the Meiteis as ST communities, which was passed by the local high court.
Yeah, so why is there a conflict?
Sir, the communities don't want the Meiteis to be recognized as STs because they feel that they will be deprived of their rights to land, etc. Sir. And they feel that Meiteis are a more affluent community, and that granting ST status to them would result in a severe competition for the already scarce resources, sir.
Okay, suppose you are given the responsibility of resolving problems in the Northeast. What are the steps you may like to take? Keep in mind this Manipur conflict, but it is not the only problem there, as you said.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, I would go by Deng Xiaoping's idea that development is the hard truth, sir. So, I would adopt the two-pronged strategy of both development and decentralization, and that development so that the poverty and the economic condition would be improved of the society, and decentralization would empower them to make their own choices. So that
I
would
like
reduce
that.
conflict.
I like that quotation from Deng Xiaoping. Tell me
Yes.
something about Deng Xiaoping.
Deng Xiaoping was a Chinese premier who was instrumental in the opening up of the Chinese economy, and also the reason why China is now one of the leading powers in the world.
What did he do?
He opened up the Chinese economy, and that resulted in the economic growth of China.
Okay. Now we'll shift our focus from the Northeast and China to somewhere west of India. What is happening in the relationship with Maldives as far as India is concerned?
So there's basically a few ministers of Maldives have spoken about have passed few comments on Prime Minister and our people of our country, sir, and that was taken in a negative light by India, sir.
So what happened?
As a result, there's a growing tension in Maldives. There's the India Out campaign which is going on, and also the growing closeness of Maldives with China, sir. And that might disrupt relations between both the countries. And there's also a counter campaign in India as to boycott Maldives, to where Maldives is a economy which is highly tourism dependent, and India is one of the largest tourism revenue generators over there. So that would negatively impact its economy.
Is it a cause of concern for India? Because 3 ministers have been suspended. So why should India be bothered anymore? Is the president not supporting India?
Yes.
What? What yes?
Uh,
Is the president supporting India in line with Indian thought, or how is it going on?
The president seems to be more close towards the Chinese counterpart, and he is not really on the India side of the dialogue.
Has he done something or said something to that effect recently?
I do not recollect.
Okay, never mind. One of my colleagues is asking you about the judiciary. Just give me a brief idea of why judiciary is important for a country like India, and especially if it's a democratic country. Why is judiciary so important in any country, more so in a democracy?
So, judiciary is the guardian of fundamental rights, sir. Even though the Constitution has enumerated and promised to its citizens rights, it is the judiciary which ensures citizens enjoy these rights and also checks in the legislative and the executive excesses, sir.
That's all? Go on. Think more. I mean, if you want to add anything to that, go ahead. How has the judiciary in recent times, especially Supreme Court in India, been talking on fundamental rights or expanding the
Yes,
realm
sir.
of rights?
Yes, sir. Without Supreme Court, the rights would just have been on paper, and it has expanded the scope of fundamental rights. For example, the right to life to include right to health, right to privacy, and right to live with dignity, etc., sir. And also, it has improved the scope of right to freedom of speech to include the right to information, also, sir. And that has significantly changed the Indian society and made it far more progressive, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
That's the end of the current personality test, Ms. Hanitha. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Now, what we propose to do is to give you feedback on
Yes.
how we looked at your performance in this mock test.
Yes.
Usually UPSC takes, as you know, some 25 to 30 minutes, whereas in this session, we took about 45 minutes.
Yes, sir.
And I'll give my feedback first, and my colleagues will follow. And
Yes.
at the end of it, if you have any questions or
Yes.
clarifications, you may do so finally, and
Yes.
we'll try and clarify.
Yes.
Now, you must keep in mind that this is meant for a constructive criticism of your
Yes.
performance, and
Yes.
not to extol or talk about your strengths, so that you will be able to, in the rest of the period before the personality test date, build
Yes.
on your strengths and areas which require improvement, so that
Yes.
you will give your best in the personality test.
Yes.
Now, as far as my understanding is concerned, you are already a tested officer. You were selected by the APPSC in the Group 1 exams,
Yes.
and you are employed. You are very confident, generally very well informed, good manners. Your honesty in saying no whenever you didn't know answers to any question. And also, by and large, you have a variety of interests, and wherever required, you also have some depth of knowledge in some of the issues,
Yes.
which came out, in this process of the personality test.
Yes.
One or two bits of advice would be that basically the questions in the personality test would be based on the DAF, whatever you have given in the DAF, and the happenings around. Your interest
Yes.
in whatever is happening around. Your eyes and ears should be wide open. Okay. For instance, if something is happening to the land issues in Andhra Pradesh state, where you are
Yes.
already a government officer,
Yes.
where the Land Titling Act, which has been brought in last year, 2023, the advocates have started cribbing, saying that their role is getting limited. Okay, in a situation of comprehensive land title, the revenue authorities are expected to go through everything and then provide some appellate provisions in the act, so that if the lower level functionary doesn't do justice, there is an opportunity to go to a higher level official instead of litigating the matter by going to the court,
Yes.
a civil court, in the domain of land where revenue authorities are expected to know better.
Yes.
They are unlike normal civil disputes. So the advocates have been cribbing. This is the most important aspect. So you should be aware of whatever is happening, as you are aware of whatever is happening in the women and the child development sector, where the Anganwadis, have been striking work for a long time. Okay.
Yes.
That is one. And also the issue of temple government interference, Tirupati TTD, a wealthy trust board, which started spending money on Tirupati municipality, whether it is allowed or not, whether the government should permit spending of substantial chunk of funds of TTD on Tirupati municipality, which is supposed to be otherwise done by Tirupati Urban Development Authority. So ranging from there, Ayodhya temple money is being spent by the trust, and where the money has come through donations of citizens, and government have nothing to do with the core temple constructions expenditure and so on. And
Yes.
at the other extreme, Yadagiri Gutta in Hyderabad, close to Hyderabad, where government has spent over 1,000 crores on temple reconstruction. So this is the range of interests that are being shown or not shown by the governments towards the temples. So
Yes.
if you are aware, I think you'll be able to score a higher percentage. And finally, you should not get into very narrow conclusions when the issues are complicated, like say Visakhapatnam steel plant. It's not just that there are no captive mines. If the organization has to improve, the internal efficiencies can be improved by the management. They can provide incentives. And the workers have also proved in the recent past, when there was a threat of closure, that they improved their performance. There were operational surpluses. So not having captive mines is just one of the factors that affected the function. Therefore, you should look at comprehensive.
Yes.
Okay. And finally, you should be very consistent in whatever replies you give, whether Ramayana, Mahabharata, or epics. Anyway, my colleagues will deal with it. You should be very consistent in your replies. I think if you
Yes.
can focus on these suggestions, I am sure you'll do extremely well in the personality test. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Hanitha, I think your answers are quite all right. You maintained a cool and composed posture all the time. And your expression is also clear, and you maintained a small pause that you keep it.
Yes.
Only thing is because you have mentioned something in your DAF, the extracurricular activities, focus on that. Especially they try to, when you have interest and they try to find out how much knowledge you have. Other issues maybe, but when you are interested, you should have more depth so far as
Yes.
information is concerned. When you have something asked about to have epic, you have green epics like Iliad, Odyssey, all this. That's basically about telling the stories about the heroes, how they have fought the battle, all the descriptions are given. So try to find out the difference between epics, itihas, mythology, Puranas. A clear way and a
Yes.
simple way you can tell.
Yes.
Similarly, when you are asked about various issues, if you take any issue for the matter, either a capital or a development or growth, there is always two sides to the coin. So you don't give your conclusion, don't start with your conclusion and come to the other points. First, you give two sides. Then if you're asked to give your own opinion, you can give your view. Otherwise, there are always merits and demerits. And you don't have to take a side initially. Then later on, in the later part, when you're concluding, you may give your opinion. That's a different matter. But
Yes.
if you have started with your conclusion, it says that you are biased about particular thing. Vijayawada should be the capital. And because there are also, there are some pro arguments about Vizag, telling that Chennai is also on the coastline. It can have a beautiful, headquarters or capital. Similarly, it has got a natural airport, a natural seaport, and the coastline. We have developed coastline. Various merits are there. Whereas you said Vijayawada is centrally located. There is no doubt. The initial idea was to appease the Andhra people, to give some more importance or some more developmental activities will go. So you try to have a balance always. On any other issue also, you don't come to conclusion immediately.
Yes.
That's my suggestion.
Yes.
And about hospitals, you are asked why public hospital and private hospital. It is basically perception problem. People's perception is different about government hospitals. So perception management is one of the elements more required.
Yes.
And that can be created only by government taking initiatives, client-oriented in approach, which is not there in the government hospitals. They feel that they take it as an indifferent way. They don't have that. Whereas the private hospitals, right from the day the place you enter, they take care of everything. That's why one feel more at home with them. Like that, you have to have a very logical explanation why it is having, how the perception can be changed in the long run. That's
Yes.
all from my side. And
Yes.
you have a good chance to get through interview, because
Yes.
with your background, I could see you have the necessary fluency and very clear answers. And there's nothing wrong in admitting frankly, once you don't know, there's no point in beating around the bush. You can say
Yes.
that, look, I don't know. You can say that.
Yes.
So with all this, thank you very much and all the best to you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Hanitha, to add to what has been already said. At times, you sounded like you wanted to be diplomatic or politically correct. When the question of, temples decontrol came, I don't know whether you have not really heard about this demand, because the whole country is now talking about it. Okay. Maybe you did not want to quote any controversy or anything. I really do not know the reason why you avoided that question. but I really don't think that you are not aware of that issue. In any case, you see, there is the kind of secularism that India follows is under a lot of debate and also scrutiny these days. Okay. And this is a very dicey subject. You have to tread very carefully,
Yes.
right? And the kind of secularist model that we follow, equidistance from different religions, and also at the same time, public functionaries participating in religious functions. Okay, and then all the state functions, governments hosting iftars, and then Christmas carols, participating in Christmas carols. But then you have Ugadi Panchanga Shravanam on the other hand. Okay, these kinds of things. huh? So whether the state is really maintaining equidistance or whether it is tilting towards particular sections is something that you have to keep in mind. And the Western model of secularism, particularly the France model of secularism, the state and church being totally separate. Is that really possible? If it is not really possible in a country like India, why it is not possible? Okay. And whether there are any amendments, changes that can be made to the model of secularism that we follow in India. These are some of the issues, because why I am emphasizing this. Your interest, you have mentioned reading books on mythology. I think a lot of interesting conversations could happen in the board, right? And the subtle nuance, between mythology and epic. On one hand, Mahabharata, Ramayana are now recognized as epics. Typically, in an epic, you have a hero, there is a story around hero, his deeds, his valor, and all that. And the epics are, transmitted from generation to generation. They are told like stories, and they are also interpreted, different meanings are given. Whereas myth is a myth, is simply in the realm of faith. You don't really, talk about it. There is no really debate as such, as far as a myth is concerned. You simply accept it on the face of it. Whereas in an epic, people read, then people interpret. There are discourses and discourses, and there is a hero, there is a characterization. There are, various lessons that can be drawn. I'm sure you must have heard about various interpretations of, Ramayana, Mahabharata, and all that. There are also critics like Mallu Swarajyam, or I don't know who is that lady. There is one lady who talks about. So, Ramayana Vishavruksham kind of, books. Okay. So I think this is something you should be, more confident in answering. Should there be a question in the board. Secondly, this Ayushman Bharat, actually, the concept today is curative aspect. But the shift in emphasis must be from curative to preventive. So all PHCs are now being looked at as, more wellness centers than, treatment centers. So the shift in emphasis. So like the good old homily that you have, prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
So the shift in emphasis must be rather than from curative to preventive. If you approach the entire health issue from that angle, the most simplistic, good old adage that, prevention is better than cure, I think you will get a different perspective about the health administration in our country. Not
Yes.
only that, there is also talk about, reviving the family doctor concept in our country.
Yes.
Okay. So if you can touch upon these issues, I think you will be able to put the issue in a better perspective. And
Yes.
well, of course, since you persecuted, you studied in an open university model, there could be questions about whether Open University, will be a good substitute or compensation for a regular university study. And what are its advantages and disadvantages? The peer interaction that you typically get in a university environment or a college environment, you don't get it here. So how do you compensate for that? It's part of growing actually. When you go to college, it is not as if, you simply go there to get a degree, but it as a part of your growing and your interaction with peers. You share your thoughts, you share your emotions. It's more like a personality development that takes place. Whereas in a distance mode of education, probably you miss all that. You will have to compensate it with something else from outside. So this could be, a matter for, potentially there could be a question on this also. But otherwise, full marks to you, because of your clarity of thought and expression, and also your good knowledge base, and where you are not very clear, you are, honest enough to admit that you are not up to date on that issue. I think if you can, based on your DAP, if you can visualize all potential questions, I'm sure you will certainly give a better impression of yourself in the good. And please keep this at the back of your mind and start working on these lines on the street.
Yes.
Yeah, Hanitha, I find your confidence and fluency in answering as a very positive traits. However, I would like to tell you that in as far as two issues are concerned, one is since you're from Andhra Pradesh, the focus on Andhra Pradesh governance and also the political developments in AP that are shaping up and the election year coming in. I think you might have to be more prepared of all these developments. And the second thing is, I think you need to structure your answers in such a way that they are sharp and short, so that you don't give more opportunities for a longer, debate or discussion on that. And as my co-panelist said, please don't jump into any conclusions. Give both versions or whatever dimensions are there to an issue, so that you give a good impression of your understanding of the problem. And finally, if you're asked, you can give whatever your opinion. The second thing is you have put your, Indian mythology as one of your, extra activities and interests. And given the current, discussion and the euphoria in the entire country on Ayodhya and Ram, there might be multiple questions on this. And for your information, Mahabharata and Ramayana have been investigated scientifically, and there is evidence that the Mahabharata war happened at a particular year in history, and
Yes.
the in institute in Hyderabad, Birla Institute of Science, they have published papers on the dating of Mahabharata war. So please
Yes.
read into it before jumping into saying either it is mythology or history. So there is a thin line now. So a lot of research is going on. So you be more careful in your, answering these issues. All the very best.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be quite brief since my colleagues have already explained a lot of things. I like the thing about China when you drop the name of Deng Xiaoping. From current affairs, if you're able to bring in extra points, that's always a plus. A short piece of advice is there is some subject or there are subjects on which you are very confident. It may not be a bad idea to extend the discussion on that, only if you're very confident of the facts and your interests. It's not otherwise. It's not a general advice for all your replies, but if there is area in which you know a lot, and you can explain better, there's no harm in going about it in a greater or a more lengthier manner. suppose you know Maldives, suppose you know Northeast or Ayodhya or anything. If there's a way to lead the discussion too, just a thing. And my limited advice is when you're talking about current affairs or your subject, your subjects of education or your home state, you have to be on your on top of it. Current affairs, of course, is a different ball game, but your home state and your education, your interests, you have to be on top of it. There's no leeway there. You don't have a cushion there. But in other areas, yes, you have a lot of cushion. You can say, I don't know. You can say, yes, my understanding is this and that. But on certain basics, they draw a line. And as far as current affairs is concerned, I would suggest read up and be more thorough or more, what shall I say, more up to date, because a lot is happening. I'll just give you the Maldives example. There are things that have happened which I would have expected to hear from you. So when you are saying something, especially things which are relevant, which are salient today, be fully appraised of the facts.
Yes.
Otherwise, there's always a pleasant surprise bringing in China and all. I like that. Best of luck. You'll do well.
Good. The feedback is complete. If you have any questions or clarifications to seek, you're most welcome to do so.
Yes, sir. So I have one area of doubt, like with respect to sir, who told that when asked about whether Ramayana or Mahabharata is mythology or history, I didn't know. I do have an idea about the scientific research behind the dates or the archaeological excavations, but I didn't know whether it was right to put it or not, because most people dispense it off as pseudoscience, etc. So I'm kind of concerned. So how do I explain this like that?
I will come to that. Currently, you may say it is actually, qualifies to be taught as a history. But then certainly it is an epic, and it has long since been recognized as epics. On the lines of Iliad's, Homer, and such, magnum opus. So as far as, to claim that, they are still mythologies, somehow is, are not acceptable. They are by any standard, by any test, they are certainly epics.
Yes.
Okay. Number one. Number two, of course, it is being said that, actually Ramayana happened, Mahabharata happened and all that. But, after all, history is also now becoming more of, tending more towards sciences. They are also invoking a lot of tools of, scientific methodology, carbon dating, DNA testing, the Aryan invasions. I'm sure you also read history, as I see from your DAF.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know, but what kind of history, is being taught. IGNO's books, most of the books have actually become outdated. They are still, 60s, 70s editions only they are reprinting. I came across a couple of them. So, but, this you can actually supplement it or update your knowledge, by reading latest articles being published from time to time. And a lot of, YouTube, talks are there, very well informed. There is one Muslim gentleman, some Ali or somebody, or Mahmood. If you can, Archaeological Survey of India, I think he is some director or some deputy director. Muhammad. There is a Muhammad. I think he has established beyond any doubt, based on archaeological evidence, that, these things have actually happened. But, the history fraternity as such is now not prepared to take it up, as a part of what is called history as such. So therefore, it might take some time, but then, till such time, you cannot accord it the status of a mythology, because in any case, it is long since been recognized that it is certainly an epic. So it is somewhere, something like, I'm sure you must have heard this expression called proto-history. which has
Yes.
all the characteristics of history, but still not history.
Yes.
I'm sure you know Indus Valley civilization is known as proto-history.
Yes.
Okay. So probably currently it stands at the stage of proto-history, which has all the characteristics and potential to become history, but still not history because it doesn't satisfy the criterion of being a history.
So,
So I think this is the way you can present it.
yes.
Did it make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good.
Anything else?
Sir, with respect to the issues of the capitals, it is a very political debate. So, how do I conclude matters like that?
Yeah, you should put forth the arguments given by the supporters and opponents of Vizag to be a capital. You say
Yes.
on the one hand, the support of Vizag as capital would say that the northeast Andhra region has been neglected, and if the capital of Andhra Pradesh is going to be located, it would be advantageous to them physically. While the others would say it doesn't matter whether capital is in Amravati or Vishakhapatnam, because this is the age of technology, and like we are doing Zoom meetings, even the courts are having online proceedings.
Yes.
So the arguments like these, you should put forth both the viewpoints, and ultimately, if you are asked to give your final opinion, if you are forced to give your opinion, you may do so. You may give your opinion as to whatever you like. While people may not be interested in your judgment because you are not a judge, so we want to understand whether you are going to put up a balanced view and the viewpoint of various stakeholders. That's the point.
Yes.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, good luck. God bless you, Anita.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.